everybody. Welcome to Etcetera Live. I'm your host, Kelly Barrett. So happy to see you all in the house tonight. I am beyond excited for my guest tonight. Anybody that has known me for more than 5 minutes knows that I am a huge David Bowie fan. And tonight I am super thrilled to have the gentleman from A Night of BOWIE, the definitive BOWIE Experience. This show is acclaimed as being one of the most realistic BOWIE experiences in North America. And tonight we have in the house, from left to right, we have Kyle Radomsky, Syl Thompson, and Rob Begg over on your right. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thanks to see you.
Go ahead. See, that's the problem when you got three people. Thanks for having us. Go ahead.
Yeah, good to see you.
It's great to
be back at it.
Yeah, it feels great to be back at it. I just wanted to mention this. I'm going to play a video because I really want the viewers to hear you. So I think before we get launched into some conversation, I'm just going to go ahead and play that because I really want the viewers to hear the amazing sound that is A Night of BOWIE. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you A Night of BOWIE.
Tragic like a fall of brand new that's been and such a lovely song. But get away from ground control. Oh no, don't say it's true. A saddening bore, as I've read it 10 times or more. It's about to be writ again, as I ask you to focus on sailors fighting in the transom. Oh man, look at those cavemen go. Put on your red shoes and dance the blues. The song that they have. Oh, I passed 100,000 miles. I'm feeling very still. And I think my spaceship knows between it all. Now my wife, I love her very much. She knows. The golden angels behind the bridge, she lays it down. We found she might life's a funny thing. Am I still too young? Oh yeah, carry the news, carry the news. One more time.
Sweet Jesus.
Sweet 7 pounds, 8 ounce baby Jesus.
Sweet baby Jesus. That sounds impressive. I want to also give a shout out to, because the band is huge and there are 4 members that aren't here with us tonight that are an equally as important part of the band. That would be Marc Gawthrop, who is piano and vocals, Rob Gawthrop, keys, synth and vocals, Graham Howell, who is sax and flute, and you have to have sax at a BOWIE tribute.
Oh, yes.
How are you going to do Young Americans without, you have to. So we're happy Graham is there, and Dave Shannon on guitar and vocals. Mm-hmm. So I got to ask you guys, because you do have such high acclamations as being one of the most realistic Bowie experiences in North America. And I would wholeheartedly agree with that, because being a huge Bowie fan, I've been a Bowie fan since I was probably too young to be a Bowie fan. Like from the time when I was 10 or 11, I was just literally obsessed with him. And I was supposed to marry him actually, but yeah, he met that rich supermodel and it all went to hell. So, you know.
Sorry about that.
Now these things happen.
Yeah. So, you know, but I'm wondering if you guys have always and I'll start with you, Syl, for this. Have you always been a Bowie fan, or how did you know that you could emulate him?
Well, I didn't really know that I could emulate him till about the 80s, but I've been a Bowie fan since about 74 when Hunky Dory came out.
Right.
When I first heard that album, it was so different from the stuff that we were listening to at the time, because we were listening to like stuff like Crosby, Stills, Nash, you know, Don McLean, I don't know, those kinds of things. And then when a friend of mine who bought this album put it on, I was just like, whoa, what's this? It was so different. So yeah, since 74, I've been a fan. But in the 80s, playing in the clubs in Vancouver, we were like a top 40 band. And in a top 40 band, you'd play what was on the radio. And in 83, when Bowie came out with the Let's Dance album, we learned a couple of the songs off of it and put it in our set list. And it just kind of jumped from there, playing in a couple of clubs, one in particular, Gators. You'll probably remember that.
Yeah. Well, I told you to do it. I want to say on this one, on a story, but I was in another band, and I was playing a place called Shuffles that we both used to play at. And Syl had a night off, and he came out and saw our band. I think it was with Geraldo, and I think that would have been Dealer or Lou Valentino. And it was on a break, and I had seen Syl, because Syl is amazing at it. I saw him actually do the Bowie song, a couple of songs. I said, you should do a tribute, and he never did anything with it. And then I saw you again with Innocent Bystander.
Yeah.
Is that when it started?
That's kind of what happened with that, because I was with Innocent Bystander, another top 40 band, and we were playing Gators. And at the end of the night, there was the club manager there. We were sitting around having drinks after the show, and he said, you know, so you kind of look like Bowie and sound like Bowie up there doing those Bowie songs. Why don't you do a tribute thing? And at that time, I think there was only maybe one or two tribute bands in Vancouver at the time. I know there was an Alice Cooper, and I think there was a Billy Idol that came along as well. But anyway, it was. I thought, well, okay, well, we'll give it a try, and so we did, and we learned actually a whole set of Bowie stuff. Did 2 sets of top 40 material, and then the last set we did all Bowie stuff, and that's kind of how it started.
Right. Right. And I was just curious, just out of curiosity, when you say Alice Cooper tribute, are you talking about Guy Jones?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I thought so. Yeah. I remember him. We were on the circuit at the same time. He was nowhere near the same level as Guy Jones, but yeah, I was just curious. Good stuff.
Yeah, he was amazing.
Yeah. What a magical time that was. Hey, I was thinking, I was reflecting back on it today, and the 80s and 90s. And I mean, of course, there was, when the Beatles came out earlier than that, but that was slightly, before I really got into music. But the 80s and 90s, there was just this golden ticket era of music that came out and I don't know, and I talk about this on the show all the time. I worry that we're never going to experience that again.
Yeah, you never will. The 80s was magical. In Vancouver, it was a magical time. Just so many good bands and so many great players and clubs galore to play. You could be playing 52 weeks out of the year.
Absolutely. I was on the road for 23 years. And probably like literally no fixed address. I hit the road when I was 17, and the glory days when there was enough work for everybody, and these amazing bands were coming out. And the thing that I love is they're artists that they're still relevant today, and we still want to hear them, and they've transcended generations. And that's why I am so grateful that there are acts such as yourself that that are allowing this music to continue for, for generations of Bowie fans. And Kyle, I just wanted to ask you, what do you think it is, in your opinion, about A Night of Bowie that just makes it, has such mass appeal across the country and then some?
I think it has a lot to do, even kind of relating back to these guys, I'm a little bit younger. When they had that auspicious meeting, I was coming home from soccer practice. So,
Thanks, God.
but I did see them across the street. My parents wouldn't let me cross without anyone going with me. But
There's musicians over there.
I was like, something good's happening over there. And in 15, 25 years, we're going to hang out. But I grew up at a point where I was at the very end of that circuit. So I still played 6 nights a week. I got to tour. In fact, as that sort of disappeared, I worked overseas, still doing 6 nights a week. So the thing that we have is that stagecraft of spending all that time practicing, playing, and doing it and sucking for 10, 15 years so you get really good at what you're doing.
As we all do, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And this show, probably more so than almost any show I've ever worked with, is that you've got, first of all, it's a big band for today's standards. It's a 7-piece band. There's 0 tracks. It's all 100% live. In fact, that recording that you played, not only is that live, that's the actual mix from the show.
Straight off the board, right?
2-channel mix straight out from the camera, or straight into the camera. So we wouldn't even had a chance to fix that, right? That is, and I don't know about these guys, but I'm super proud of how great that recording sounds, because it's the years and years of experience that it takes to know how to do all those little delicate things. And when it comes to doing David Bowie's music, though he had some huge hits, if you're at all musically inclined, you start digging into the catalog, even the hits, you go, wow, there's not a square edge on any one of these songs. Even the pop hits, you go, wow. You start digging deep into the parts, you go, there's some strange chords here. The structure changes each time.
Right.
The lyrics are odd. Right. And you really, really have to pay attention. And for the show to be successful, there's tons of terrible tributes out there in all kinds of styles. Sorry, friends, but
that's reality.
There's no level of quality, tagged on to being a tribute. And that's kind of the thing. People hear the word tribute, or they hear the word impersonator or whatever, and they take it as such a negative connotation because they all think about the same thing. They think about Fat Elvis or terrible Rolling Stones tribute they once saw, walking down the street. And when you get a show like this one where you've got 7 people with, I don't want to say that we're, of a certain age, but there's literally hundreds of years of experience on stage.
Said the whippersnapper.
Yeah, exactly. Not me, the other one. But no, seriously, like,
I hear you.
The level of craft that we all bring to the table, like, it just, it pays respect to the music. It brings it to the people, and it's done in a way how he would have done it. It's all live. It's a living, breathing, moving thing. And that's why I think we connect with audiences really strongly, because we come out and do that first song and we get a great rise out of the audience. We're able to maintain that for 90 minutes because everything that's happening is happening in real time. There's no moments where we can't go off book if we have to, right? If a moment's going to occur, we can take a chance. In fact, in that show, you didn't see it in the video, but there is a moment that happened where we had to stretch a section and stretch a section. I'm pretty sure Syl ended up in the next state. He went to go change.
I went for a costume change, and I thought it wouldn't take quite as long as it did.
You should have made a left, made a right.
But, you learn these things. And now when we do a full show that with no costume, we're usually in a theater, we usually have a break. We do like 2 45 minutes. That's
right.
A bit of a break. I do a costume change. And this one, we went the full show. And so I tried to get them during Let's Dance to stretch it out a bit while I took off stage to change. But now, you live and learn. So
That's
I don't
right.
do that anymore.
You have a new method.
We have a dresser.
And I just wanted to add something. What Kyle said is the thing about our show and what I sort of had envisioned in my mind when Rob wanted me to get back in doing this.
Are we giving him credit for all
Yeah,
that?
he's the one who instigated me getting back into doing this show. But anyway, I had to look at it as, okay, number one, I'm a little older now. How am I going to approach doing this Bowie show. And fortunately enough, he had the reality tour, and he was older, and I could pull that off. But the other part of that was I didn't want to do the songs just exactly like the album. And the reason I didn't want to do that is because if you went to see a Bowie concert, he never did that. He changed things up all the time.
He did.
I mean, so many, heroes, there's so many different
Few versions of that one, yeah.
So I wanted our show to be a live show, like you would see a live David Bowie show, as opposed to trying to do the record exactly the same. And that's not to say we do a couple of songs where we do the album, but most of it's all live stuff that he did later on, like the BBC stuff.
And the other thing too is with Bowie, aside from the fact that he maybe, in my opinion, he's probably the purest artist of our time when it comes to pop music, because he basically lived in his entire life as a piece of performance art. He even puts out his last album, his last video, a couple of days before he died. He knew he was going to die. So he really kind of timed everything intentionally. You can tell, like he lived like a rock star. He was untouchable. He made sure that he was eccentric and interesting. And as far as the body of work goes, maybe short of the Beatles, I don't think anybody put out as varying music across his career. If you don't like one of his records and the style it's in, check out 2 more records down the road. You're going to find something you like. If you like funk, there's a record. Mm-hmm. If you like EDM, there's a record. If you like, straight up bubblegum pop, there's a record. I mean, there's everything.
Right. And Rob, I was gonna ask you this. So the song that I think Kyle was just referring to was "Where Are We Now?" And I've heard that when you guys, because I read a review, which I'm going to read in a bit here, and the author was saying that when you guys did your first encore, that actually brought tears to people when you played that song.
Yeah, Syl does a pretty amazing job on singing that.
Well, it's an emotional song.
Yeah, and then even given the circumstances, and I'm wondering, Rob, what's it like for you when you sense, and all of you, but I'll start with Rob. What does it feel to sense that kind of emotion in the crowd?
Well, I think Syl's, it's like as close as you're going to get to playing with David Bowie. I mean, he really goes in there with the whole thing. He's 100% into doing that particular character. When he hits the stage right away, he gets on the side of the stage. He's psyched right into that character. You can see him come up, and then 5 minutes before he's on his own, he's got his water in his hand, and I've known Syl a long time, so I kind of
not that long.
Well, yeah, I guess so. No, we've been together a long time. But yeah, he gets in that zone, and you know that it's going to be a quality show. Syl, I just love working with Syl, and I love working with Kyle. But Syl, I've worked with him a long time. He's fun. He's one of my best friends. I love working with him. He's great.
I was going to say, that's our first encore, and it's a bold choice because it's certainly a song they're not expecting. Number one, you're expecting something we haven't played yet that's probably a massive hit. And with Bowie's catalog, we could play for 9 hours. Still
still not doing it all.
Yeah, I know that song, right? And so we come out and do that, which is this very sparse, very angular, structured song, and it has, we like to joke, it's got expensive chords in it, but it has this sort of dissonance to it, and that's what suits the vocal, and it makes it's very emotional, but it's very patient. Yeah. And we take the audience on this journey, and it's a really, in a way, it's a huge risk that Syl takes every time we do it, because the audience has been just brought up, and now we're come back, and we're sucking them right back down into that moment. And to be able to connect with them like that, that's really special. And kudos to Syl for taking that chance, because it's not the logical choice. It's probably the Bowie choice, which is probably what makes it work.
Yeah.
Which
Graham
exactly
is amazing on that too. Graham Howell is amazing on that, isn't he? Let's give Graham some kudos.
Yeah.
In our band, he plays flute and sax, and man, he's second to none.
He's the most popular guy.
He's second to none.
Is that right? Well, that's the thing about this band.
Everybody loves Graham.
there's no dead weight in this band. Like when you check out the lineup and you see the show, it's like, you know, sometimes you go to see a band, it's like, well, the singer's really good and the guitar player's all right. But in this band, there is no dead weight. And it's you can see that it's such an equal amalgamation of everybody's talents that make this sound.
Yeah, and you know, the other thing, Kelly, is that everybody gets along really well. It's not, we don't have any, you know,
squabbles and drama
crazy
and
squabbles and stuff,
No.
except for these two. But other than that,
Thanks, Kyle.
no, truthfully, though, we do get along very, very well. And,
Right. Because that'll show on stage.
That's a lot, you know.
That will come out in a live performance.
Absolutely.
You can't hide that, eh? And you know, one of the comments I was going to make, and Kyle kind of reminded me of when he was talking about, you know, people think such and such about tributes, and I think, and you can tell me what your thoughts are on this. I think personally, doing a tribute or an homage, however you want to call it, would be much harder than, say, doing a variety cover songs or even your own original music, because there's room for, I don't want to say error necessarily. There's room to move. When you're doing, especially a David Bowie show, you got to be bang on.
You do.
That's what people are
If you're
noticing.
not bang on, you're going to get booed. You know, that's, you know, for myself, because I'm the principal person in the band, I get emotional about it, and I get a lot of anxiety because of the fact that I know that when I go on stage and I do this, everybody's going to be kind of looking at me. I mean, they look at everybody else too, but I mean, they're going to be really checking me out to make sure that I'm doing justice to this man.
Right. No pressure.
And I mean, the pressure is enormous.
Yeah.
So I don't know where I was going.
Yeah, well, you're right. No one buys a ticket to see And the Spiders from Mars. So
Right. And you got the, like, the thing with you, Syl, is that you got the stance and the demeanor and the moves. Like, even in this video we just saw, you know, the way he holds his mic out and then leans into it, and you got the moves down, and like, it's a whole package. And yet I love, because I did read earlier today that you had said that you're not interested in doing a carbon copy of David, but more an homage to David Bowie with your own nuances and personalities thrown in there. And
Exactly. I'm some of those things, those movements or whatever on stage are things that I've noticed from watching his videos. But a lot of it too is just the way that I am on stage. Even back in the 80s when, you know, my other bands and stuff, when I was just fronting the bands, you know, that's just kind of how I was. And I think that's what brought, when Bowie came out in 83 with the Let's Dance and the band I was in learned those songs, and we started doing those songs, and I was doing just how I normally am on stage. That's sort of what brought it, the attention to it. But there is some pre-moves that I've kind of picked up on. But the rest of it is, you know, basically just me, just being a goof.
it has to seem natural.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's right.
You can't, you know, I've been fortunate to work with a lot of really great tribute artists over the years. And what makes them all really singularly good is that they're being themselves, being whatever it is they're doing, because that's the ticket. That's the connection they're bringing. You know, it's the artistry in them, in Syl, in the band, that connects with the audience. If you're trying too hard to be that other thing, I think that's where tributes a lot of times fall apart, is they're too focused on the stage move or the look or whatever it is, where they miss the connection with the audience, or they don't, I hate to say it, but maybe they don't have that skill set or that talent or that experience to have that connection. And that's really what it's all about. It's not about it being an exact, you know, copy of what that artist did. It's that when you see the experience, you go, wow, you feel like that you've seen it. It's what you think Bowie should be, right? You're being presented something, you go, wow, that was amazing.
Right, 100%. You know what, guys? There's a ton of comments flying in. I kind of figured that was going to happen, so I'm just gonna go to a few of those now, and then I want to get into a little bit of background with each and every one of you. So Doug Corby's just saying this is great music. Fabi Boucher, we love Fabi. She says they sound great. Cool start, Gary Jones.
Thank you.
Do you guys know Fabi?
No, but
She's
she wants to book us.
She does she? She's great tribute. She's saying this is a great tribute band. My friend Angela Hughes, huge Bowie fan. Hi, sweetheart. She's saying hi, Kelly. Jim Robinson is saying hi, guys. Best Bowie tribute I've ever heard.
Thank you, Jim.
Jim did a good Bob Seger too in his day.
Yeah.
He did.
So you guys obviously know Jim then, hey?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and you know this guy too, because Tad C. Goddard from Prism is in the house.
Yes.
Hi, Tad. We love Tad.
Hi, Tad.
So Tad says, hey, guys, how's it going, boys? Great job on Skip's album, Syl. And looking great, guys. Love you, Rob.
Aw, thanks, Tad. Love you too.
Thanks for mentioning Skip on there, Tad. That was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dave,
My buddy Skip, who's in the hospital, and we're hoping for the best, and he's going to get well and get out of there.
Hey, Skip.
right. We all need to send positive energy to Skip. I remember that you had posted something the other day, and it's like, sending positive mojo to Skip for sure. You might know this person, Syl. Sandy Lovass Thompson. Who is Syl's significant other, better half? What is it? Yeah, it says the whole band is like
better half.
the whole band is a family.
Much better half.
Yeah.
Sandy's saying the whole band is just one big family, which is great. Dave Chomiak, hey David. So David is a local musician who does 3 or 4 tribute bands, like to a T. So he's saying that you guys own it and to keep owning it. And he would appreciate the work that goes into a tribute band. He does a Van Halen tribute, a Bon Jovi tribute, Motley Crue. And just tons and tons. Hopefully I might not get to all these comments. Oh, Sean Bremner says, hi, Dad.
Hello, my son.
Is that literally your son?
He is my heart son.
Oh, hi, Sean. Then we're glad that you're here to see Dad. That's awesome. Love it. Brian Harris is saying the band, meaning you guys, just rocks Bowie. Just rocks Bowie. Sean Tiedemann, who is a local musician, does a Kiss tribute. You guys may know him. He's just saying hi, everybody. I'll try to get to some more comments later.
Keep bringing the good ones. We like those.
Yeah.
They're never bad ones.
Skip the bad
The
ones.
bad ones we can.
We don't want any haters.
No, we don't. No, they're all good, and there's tons of them, and I kind of feel
I think there was a comment about the amount of time it takes to put something like this together. It takes a long time. We were in rehearsals for close to a year, I think, before we even did our first show.
Because it's all live.
So
right.
It takes time, and still developing it after that. And we're fortunate enough to get this gentleman in with us.
And no way, guys,
I'm too lazy. There's no way I'd spend a year rehearsing.
But Kyle is, he may be the youngest one, but he's no slouch because I understand, Kyle, you've been making music since you were like 5 years old.
Yeah, that's true.
What? Do you wanna...
I'm pretty busy, but I'm fortunate to be able to do all kinds of stuff. So, they've been gracious to have me along as part of the team, and I got an opportunity that came up where I got a chance to play with them, and everything worked out after that because I could see the commitment and the skill and all that stuff. So it's been really, really great.
Right. And you also toured with Farmer's Daughter when you were 17 or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I went to college and had to take some time off so I could save some money to go back to college because I went to a very expensive school in the U.S. And I came back thinking, I'll work for 6 months and I'll go back. And 2 weeks after I came back, I got the audition of Farmer's Daughter, got the job. And I was like, now what? So I did that for the better part of a year. I worked with them through their first album cycle. And then like the music business is, I got hired and then I got fired. Then it was, And then it was, what was the next thing? And the next gig led to the next gig, and this happened and that happened. And I was touring across Canada with an artist for that next year. I turned 20 on the road, turned 21 in Dubai, and, sort of been traveling and playing ever since. I come from a musical family, so I came by it naturally. And
right.
I like to contribute and make whatever show or events I'm working with or collaborating with people with the best I can be. And I was really, really thankful that these guys were willing to do that. I came in I had one rehearsal for the first show I got. So I got to distill all that years worth of work into about 90-minute rehearsal. And about halfway through that rehearsal, there's one of those moments where there's two brothers in the band and they're doing what brothers do, not fight so much, but sort of have that communication thing where they're talking amongst themselves.
The sibling rivalry.
I don't suffer fools lightly, and I also don't like wasting time in rehearsal. So I made a comment and said, "Hey, geez, maybe we should come prepared for rehearsal next time." I don't know these guys from Adam, right? So at that point, I'm like, I got nothing to lose here. So, and Syl, there was two things that could have happened. Syl could have kicked me out of the room, but he turned around and he goes, "Yeah, guys, pick up your socks." And then so off we went. So, thank you for not firing me. And yeah, here we are. So.
They're the Gawthrop brothers. They're great guys. They're like family to me. A couple of characters, two characters.
Oh yeah.
And when they get talking and chirping and stuff, their minds go a different way when that should be here.
They're already
and
different.
Sometimes you have to rein them in a little bit. But
Are they watching tonight? Are they catching
Probably not
us?
now.
I don't see any comments. So, Rob, tell us a little bit about your history, and then I want to get to your studio here to talk about your studio. But tell us how you get started in all of this.
With Syl?
Like in general, and then with Syl. Just a little
I
history.
played as a kid in a small town called Chilliwack, and from there I basically came into the city. And the first band I started working with a guy called Lou Valentino in a band called Dealer. We spent a lot of time in Alberta and on the road and in Prince Rupert for many days, many rainy days. Anyway, fast forward that I came into town and started playing, did the circuit like everybody else did. And there was a buzz on the street about this band called The Kids. Hi, Dave Reimer. And it was in the band. It was one of the top bands around. So I always wanted to check this guy out. Who's this guy? Because all the girls would be going, these guys are great. They're the best band in Vancouver at the time. I think Terry Kellogg was in it too, wasn't it? Terry Kellogg, yeah. So they were a great band. So I remember that's how Syl and I got together. So I started hunting him down, and I really liked what he did, and I always wanted to work with Syl. So that's what led us down that road. I also played in a band called Matrix for years with Geraldo Dominelli and the famous Dominelli brothers. So I did that for a long time. And then I moved to Los Angeles, and I played in some stuff in there, and I went to school. And I started working in studios from there. A good friend of mine, Glenn Buckley, was my roommate who worked at SIR. And we got in all kinds of trouble with the guys from Guns N' Roses who lived upstairs from us at the time.
LA in the 80s?
Wow.
Yeah, his brother was. And his brother was there too.
That's true.
His brother was at the drum
That's
program.
crazy.
really,
Yeah. So kind of funny that when we started to talk, Kyle and I, his brother was at the same program I was, basically around the same area. Yep. Only he went a little deeper than I did. He was deep in the heavy thing, which was going on in Los Angeles at the time. So anyway, fast forward to that. And I got into working in studios and doing all that kind of stuff, and led me into producing records and doing that. And Syl does that as well now. So we both do that. And yeah, I don't want to talk too much about myself. Kyle runs a record store. So
Yeah, Kyle and I were talking before the show when we were waiting for you guys, and I learned that both Syl and Rob, you both have recording studios. And Rob, before we move over to Syl, I just wanted to quickly say that I read a quote about you actually, and it says this.
I hope not.
Are you nervous?
I don't know.
Okay, so
You're good
you
or
do
bad?
run. It's. I would never be any. There's never negative on this show. So
okay.
Okay, so you do run a successful recording studio that was recently featured in Absolute Underground magazine.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And I read this quote about you. Rob has produced recordings for acclaimed artists such as Kenny Hess, Ron Irving, my good friend Cheryl Jordan, and Swedish artist Anders Eriksson. That's a tongue twister. Many that have worked with Rob credit his influence as key to their professional growth and commercial success.
Wow.
Oh, shucks.
That's nice. At least I can contribute something. No,
Isn't Anders Eriksson a defenseman for the Canucks?
no, but he went. There was a guy called that too. But he was an artist. So it was great. I got to work with. But yeah, I love working with artists. I love working with music. I love just much like the guys too. I try and get Kyle in as much as I can in the studio too. And I've had Graham Howell, which I love Graham. I had him in the studio a couple weeks ago, and he also uses Graham Howell, the famous Graham Howell. So we're a real community. We love community in our whole thing.
And there is such a great music community now. Like I talk about this with a lot of guests. I think it's much different now than it was, say, in the 80s when, you know, I think back then it was a little more, I don't want to say cutthroat, but a little more competitive. And I think among my guests, I notice, like, you know, just when I'm at different music festivals and whatnot, and you see all the artists coming together backstage and cheering each other on, and everybody's friends with each other. And I, you know, what a beautiful community to be a part of. You know, that everybody's a little bit older and more relaxed, and everybody just kind of seems to want the best.
Yep.
You know, just wants the best for everybody. And Syl, do you want to tell us about your studio? Is it Studio 31? Is it Studio 31?
Yeah, Studio 31. The 31 is regarding my
age?
son. No, I wish. No, my son Joshua was killed some years back. That was his jersey number. It was 31. And he had a company in Alberta called 31 Sticks. And my studio, I should say our studio, Sandy's and my studio, we put it together ourselves. It used to be called S&S.
Right.
But anyway,
Still in Sandy, right? Still in Sandy, yeah.
Yeah, really original. It's Studio 31 now, and it's not quite as elaborate as Mr. Begg's over here, but it's we actually put it together over the years as a writing studio for Sandy and myself, because Sandy's a singer as well. And just over the years, it's kind of developed, and sort of the people that I've met along the way. I live in Victoria now. You know, they heard I had a studio and come up and check it out and say, oh, maybe we can do something. So I started doing a few things with some of the artists around Victoria. Not too much. I did an album with a guy by the name of David Bouchard, who was a Métis flute player. And we did an album of just flute. It was flute and acoustic. And I've done a couple other things with a country artist and a couple other ones. But my latest contribution in that studio was Skip Prest, who was with Sweeney Todd and good friends, of course, Rocket Norton, who we just lost. And,
he wrote some big songs.
And of course,
he wrote that song "Hello" by Prism.
Skip also, he did when Wishes Were Horses. Is that it? Yeah, with Bryan Adams, first album, and Skip wrote a bunch of songs on that album. Anyway, so a few things, and I utilize it mostly for my own creativity and writing, and for Sandy as well. But you know, we're always open to doing projects. But it's nice. You know, I never had this type of opportunity back in the 80s because it cost so much money. Right. Kind of stuff.
And what a beautiful tribute that you've named it after your son's company, I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It's pretty special. So
well, excellent. And so you've played with some pretty big names in the biz as well, because I understand you first saw the Beatles, and that was it. You were kind of smitten, but you did go on to play with Chilliwack, like Bill Henderson from Chilliwack, and
I not so much playing with them. I did some recording with.
You worked with them, right? Yeah,
Bill Henderson and Brian McLeod, of course.
Too Loud McLeod.
Yeah, Too Loud McLeod. They produced an EP that we put together with a band called Secret Service at the time. Okay. And that in turn got sent down to Seattle to a guy by the name of Michael Flicker, who did Hearts, Dreamboat Annie, I think it was, and he had a studio down there. I don't believe he's there any longer. It was Kay Smith's studio, and it was Danny Kaye, the actor dancer guy, his studio, and I don't know the Smith part of it, but anyway, we went down there and did some recording with Michael Flecker, which is we were hoping to get signed with CBS at the time, but didn't work out.
That's life, though, eh? And did you opened up for the Beach Boys? Did you not?
Yes, when I was in Tangerine. That's another one.
Wow.
I was with Skip Press at the time, and Rocket Norton was in the band, and our bass player was a guy by the name of Peter Trotzik.
Oh.
And that band next to this band I'm in here now. That band was so much fun. It was so much fun. It was all 60s revival type music. And if you know these guys personally, they're all jokesters. And
Awesome.
I'd just be laughing my head off on stage half the time, and I couldn't, I could hardly sing sometimes. I'd be laughing so hard because they'd be making jokes and doing stuff. It was just really, really cool. But yeah, we opened up, I think it was 89 in the Coliseum for the Beach Boys. Yeah.
Good stuff.
And the guys that were playing in the Beach Boys at the time were there was Dino, Desi, and Billy.
Oh yeah, I remember
So there
those
was
guys.
Billy-
Ed Sullivan song.
Billy was in the band, and Dino. No, I think it was just Billy. But that was kind of interesting. He came up to our dressing room after we finished our opening set. Was going, wow, you guys sound great. Good harmonies on and it's all 60s stuff, right? So it's lots of fun.
Cool stuff. Judy, I just have to read this comment. Judy Graham says, I think I may have seen them at the Met, my first trip ever to Vancouver when I was 20. Drugs may have been involved, and I thought I was literally watching Bowie.
Yeah.
I don't know, Judy.
Then you're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you say? So then Judy wants to know, did you play Parksville Beach Festival last year?
Yes.
Okay.
We did.
So you did see them, and maybe too stoned to know you did. I don't know. I'm just joking. I know Judy. So yeah. Jeff Workman says, hi, Rob, Syl, and Kyle.
Hi, Jeff.
Yeah, it's a friend of yours. Curtis Vasselnack is a local wicked heavy metal guitarist, a good friend of mine. Hi, Curtis. He's saying great show, guys. Lee Canfield is another good friend of the show. He says, hi, Kelly and all the fellas. Big time Bowie fan. And what I've seen, you guys do serious justice. God bless and keep on rocking.
Thank you.
Aw,
Thank you so much.
yeah, just
It's always nice to hear good, positive things like that.
I don't want to interrupt too much, but I was going to say, Kelly, thank you for having a tribute band on your show, because I think there's part of that legitimacy to be had here in that you're appreciating, or hopefully people are appreciating, the talent it takes to do what we do. It's really easy to write us off and say, oh, well, I normally you've had Lawrence Gowan on your show, you've had Rick Emmett on your show.
Rick was great.
Now you've had Syl Thompson on your show, but well, can't get him. You can't book him. He's too busy. But it's a testament to you in making sure you're shining a light on the little guys, and we're getting fair play there, and that's really great. So thank you to you for
Thank you.
thank you. It's my pleasure. I have guests on that I truly believe have serious talent, and in my opinion, this A Night of Bowie has as much talent as anybody else that I've had on this show. So I wouldn't, and I'm such a huge Bowie fan. This is exciting for me as well, and it's a pleasure to interview somebody when you truly do feel passionate towards them. I don't interview people that I'm not really into, because I think it shows right? It just comes out. And so and I'm honored that you guys are on the show. So, but thank you for saying that, Kyle. I probably should give a shout out to my show sponsors, Writers and Rockers Coffee Company. Tonight's feature coffee is Lee Aaron's Body Rock.
Ooh.
Yeah, very cool company. So they have the whole bean blends. They have I have my Bowie mug tonight, but they have different kinds of mugs, hoodies. They have liquor, they have incense, and it's Rockstar endorsed gourmet coffee, and you can check it out at www.writersandrockerscoffee.com. Yeah, and actually Writers and Rockers were responsible for me knowing who you guys were. Funny story. Yeah, because I had Donnie Underhill from Trooper on. and we were giving away some Raise a Little Hell coffee, and Rob,
Yeah.
Mr. Rob Begg there, won the contest.
Harry Kalensky.
Do you remember that?
Harry Kalensky, I never forgot you.
And so when I went to get a hold of Rob to find out where to ship the coffee to, he was telling me all about this Bowie band tribute that he was in. And so I checked it out and I was like, wow, these guys need to be on the show.
Always
And
a
that's how it all
I
started.
learned it from you.
So I think at this point we should go ahead and give away some comedy tickets.
Oh.
Just while we're giving
Right.
shout outs to the sponsors. So as you know, I'm teamed up with Lethbridge's Good Times Comedy Club Lethbridge, and James Bariza of the club, who's a good friend of mine, has graciously offered to give away some free tickets to an upcoming show. So as always, we're going to have a skill testing question related to the guests. And in this case, it's David Bowie. I got my Bowie shirt on. I got my Bowie mug because I'm a big dork, basically. Oh, is that the theme from Jeopardy?
Yes.
That's what you're. Good job, Kyle. Okay, Kyle, we're gonna get Kyle to ask the question. I'm gonna give you a drum roll.
Oh, nice. Okay. Everybody out there, get your thinking caps on. It's time to do this. So, which 3 Bowie albums make up his much storied Berlin trilogy?
Okay, so you don't have to be local to answer, but unfortunately you do have to be local to win because you have to be able to come to. So go ahead and answer just for the fun of it. But the first local person that answers will win the tickets. Good Times is such a. Do you guys like comedy?
Yeah.
Comedy
oh,
clubs
yeah.
are. It's such a hoot. It's such a different, unique night out, right? When you could just grab a bunch of friends and go out and laugh your asses off, and it's just a really good night. So, and we're giving away tickets every time on the show. So, what am I thinking about here? Oh, it's your wife again.
His wife.
Hello, darling.
Hi, Sandy. Hello, darling. She is saying that you opened for the Beach Boys with Skip Press 2. Sorry, I didn't catch that. Anyway, I'm sorry, Sandy, I didn't understand that. Jim Robinson is also saying 80s was pretty cool back then. Everybody pretty much knew everybody. It was harder to hear each other play, though. Too much work.
Yeah.
That's a rough
Shame.
complaint to have, right? We're working too much to go and see other bands. That's so I am going to ask you. So this is, I like to call this, well, I jokingly call it my Barbara Walters portion of the show because it's questions on a more personal level. And so I'll start with you, Syl, and I'll ask you this. What makes you happiest these days? When are you the happiest?
My wife, my home, my health,
Yes.
my dogs, our dogs, I should say.
Who just had puppies?
Just had
One of them
puppies. Yes. Yes. Purebred Bouviers.
Nice. So you're a grandpuppy now.
A grandpuppy.
A grandpapa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right on.
Sandy's at home just taking care of them. And,
Babysitting. She was saying that earlier.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's what all I can say, I guess, being
That's lots.
being with people that I love and who aren't a bunch of downers and, very negative people I don't like to be around. But being happy is being at home in the studio with my wife, out for dinner. My health is good. Her health is good. Those things make me happy.
Right. And Rob, what would you say to that question?
What do I say? What?
That question.
Good
When are you the happiest?
Oh, my kids. I got a son who plays guitar. It's lots of fun to go out and see him play, and I got a daughter that I'm really proud of. So I love to be a big part of their life and watch them do what they do now. We're kind of like the grandpas now. We get to sit back and watch the next generation come out.
Yeah. Good answer. Yeah. Kyle, what about you? Young whippersnapper.
Lots of kids.
Yeah.
Oh, so are you Uncle Kyle?
No. I mean, his kids are great. Don't get me wrong. For me, I mean, I lead a pretty full life. I have a wonderful wife and son. We own a business together.
Nice.
I have a job that's very fulfilling and exciting and terrifying, and I get to make music on a regular basis. So I really don't have anything to complain about. I just need to find more time to cut the grass.
He says you're
I love
right,
your
by the
record
way.
store, by the way.
Thank you.
Rob says he'll come and cut it for you.
There you go. Yeah.
Chilliwax.
It's a great
Yeah.
record store.
I'm not wearing my hat. Yeah. Chilliwax record. Just plug
So-
it there.
And his son's really
We
cool.
ship.
Is that right?
His son is amazing. He's an amazing kid. So I go half the time to have a talk session with
He
his
doesn't
son.
come to see me.
He comes to see the kid.
6 days I'm not
Uncle
there.
Rob. Okay, here's another question for all of you. On Syl, last concert you saw.
Last concert I saw. Oh, I don't want to say.
Kenny G.
I love Kenny G.
Oh no, okay. The last concert that I saw was West Coast Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Our buddy Graham Howell was in that. That's the last one.
Nice.
Excellent.
I was thinking of one before that, and I don't want to even go there.
Oh, okay. Oh, now you have to go there. No, I'm just joking.
No, because it's something that I just should not comment on.
Okay.
Wow.
Uh-oh. The ghosts are
enough.
going on.
I will.
Kelly, you need to do your Barbara Walters routine here. We need to find out. We need to do some fact finding here.
I'll private message you and let you know what that concert.
Oh my,
was.
this is
Uh-oh.
spicy.
See, that's the thing with me that I hold strong to. I never ask a question that is going to elicit a negative or uncomfortable, awkward response.
Yeah,
I don't
well,
care.
that's why I didn't want to say anything because
I appreciate
it wasn't
that.
a very positive experience for me.
Right. Gotcha.
So-
Gotcha.
But actually, the last one I did see with my wife, we saw West Coast Chicago,
Nice.
and they were really good.
And
They were
so
really good.
you'll text me after and tell me who that concert was.
Yes, I will.
Rob, what's the last concert you were
You know
at?
what? My son came one day and he phoned me up, and I was a huge Kiss fan growing up as a kid. And I was amazed. My son RJ phones me up. He goes, "Hey Dad, let's go to Kiss." And I'm like, "Yeah, go to Kiss. You want to go to Kiss with me?" So anyway, I went to Kiss with my son RJ, and I had a ball. We had a
Cool.
great time. It was really cool. So Kiss was
That would-
fun.
Yeah, I bet they would be. And how great to go see it with your son. That he would even
Yeah, he
want to
loved
go
it.
with his dad to a concert. That's pretty cool.
And he
You'll see
started
that.
it. I didn't have to, persuade him. He's the one who said, "Let's go," and all the fire and the flames and Paul Stanley, I hope y'all got what you wanted. It was great. Paul does that little voices.
I love that impersonation of Paul Stanley.
Man.
Yeah, he's doing.
I can tell
he's
Kyle
going to
doesn't
be
like
doing
it.
a tribute to Paul Stanley.
Yeah.
Kyle, what about you? What did you see last?
I think I'm probably gapping on something since then, but because it was so memorable, it was actually the concert you and I went to. We were down in California doing a show.
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah.
We saw Bryan Adams with Joan Jett.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And that was, say what you will, if you're a Bryan Adams fan or not, that was
Huge.
one of the best concerts I've ever seen. He still sounds incredible. The band is as tight as you'll ever see, and they work hard all night. He is a perfectionist, and it comes through in everything that show does. And I was blown away by how much material they covered. He made sure to play at least a portion of all of his hits. He opens a spot up in the middle of the show where the audience gets to pick a song. And the band has to know his entire repertoire. And the
Hey,
song
do they have the floating car?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the song that got chose that night was a very deep cut. And you could tell the band was on the edge of their toes going, I think this is right.
Was it Let Me Take You Dancing?
It was not Let Me Take You Dancing, unfortunately. One of my favorite Bryan Adams songs. But I think that was part of the last one.
And he got to interview Pat, and Pat works in my studio too, so it's kind of cool.
That would be great. I'm a huge Bryan Adams fan, and actually, in answer to that question myself, I was trying to think the last concert I saw. I can't remember if it was either Styx or Bryan Adams because they were really close together. And excuse me, I will agree with you. The Bryan Adams concert, he seemed like he never wanted to go home. He just kept playing and playing and playing. And Styx was phenomenal too.
I saw Styx on that same tour, the one they did 18 months ago in Canada.
Yeah.
And I know Todd quite well, and I've met Lawrence a few times. And again, that band is 99% live. There's like 2 songs that have a little bit of tracks, but they put on a clinic for how a live performance should be. It's unbelievable how good those guys
Right. I was blown away. And the stick show I love so much because Gowan had just been on the show. I think it was maybe three weeks before. And we're kind of winding down after. And he says, hey, did you get your tickets yet? Because they were coming to my hometown. And I said, no. And he goes, oh, I'll put you on the guest list. And it's like, wow, thank you. And then so I took a friend and we're kind of just arriving home and I get a text from him. How are your seats? I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like he's just a nice guy, right? Just a down to earth human.
He's very talented.
His brother is now the
Super
bass player in
talented.
Styx.
Is that right? Eh? I did not know that. Yeah.
The bass player just retired. Ricky retired, and they're using, I forget Lawrence's brother's name, but he's playing bass with them.
Nice. So, Syl, who is likely to be on your playlist?
Good one.
Say Bowie.
Oh, geez.
Maybe he gets sick of Bowie. Maybe it's something different.
Palate cleanser.
What's that?
Palate cleanser.
I don't really listen to the radio very much or anything like that, so I'm not really up on some of the bands that are current these days. I'm probably more likely to be listening to some old Beatles stuff.
There you go.
And of course, some old Bowie stuff. I love that stuff too. Anything by Bowie, but the Beatles, yeah. Any of these bands that are really harmony, got a lot of harmony. Beach Boys, things.
Right, right.
Some of
You're
the
not
old, I guess.
You're not the first person to say the Beatles. A lot of my guests they consider the Beatles their mentor. I think Rick Emmett was one of them, actually, since we were mentioning him, that they are responsible for getting so many people interested in music. So yeah,
totally.
Yeah. Kyle, what would be on your playlist?
I don't really like.
David's good, Kyle.
I hate listening to music. It's just
whatever.
No,
Smart ass.
I play too much. Okay. I own a record shop, so I'm listening to music all day. Right now, I would say of kind of newer bands, put that in quotations. I love there's a pretty hard rock band called Periphery, which I absolutely love. Huge fan of Mammoth WVH. Wolf Van Halen is a mofo. I cannot believe how talented and down to earth he is at the same time. Very clearly has his father's genetics when it comes to being a musical genius. I can't say enough good stuff about that. And I try to listen to a little bit of everything. But if I'm like just gonna chill out, I have a great guilty pleasure in that I love yacht rock. So Michael McDonald, Christopher Cross, Kenny Loggins,
right. And that music is kind of slightly before your time, so good for you. No, I don't mean that disrespectfully.
No, you're totally right.
Yeah. So that tells me you're an old soul and you have kind of some cool eclectic taste in music, which is awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
Rob, I'll put the same question to you.
I'd say I like the Raspberries Weather Report for sort of jazzy Sundays with coffee, and I still love Jellyfish. I think they're an amazing band, so that's kind of my thing.
Right on. So one last question in the Barbara Walters portion. What are you most proud of professionally and personally, Syl? Either or.
Well, personally, I'm most proud of coming out of a bad situation from the 80s and the 90s, going through a lot of ups and downs, and that includes alcohol and drugs and everything, and I made it out of that.
Just like Bowie. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm so thankful that I met the right girl and married her, and I think I'm thankful for that, for sure.
Grateful for sobriety and for your life. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's huge, because without that, there is nothing else.
Well, that's right.
There is nothing else. Rob, how would you answer that question?
My kids. I love my kids. That's pretty well what I put all my energy into. So.
Right.
And my friends and stuff, He's got a great wife, Laura, which every time I go into the record store, I say hi to her and stuff. Just surround myself with all my great friends and my kids. So, yeah.
Right. Great answer. That's a great answer. Kyle.
Of course, I'm super proud of my family, my wife and my son. But I mean, I have to say, like, I feel like so fortunate in the sense that I've kind of stumbled through life, always kind of being able to do what I love doing, whether it's been playing music or, you know, I work for Long and McQuaid for 21 years, wonderful company to work for. And they helped, you know, support my habits and
You're good, healthy habits.
yeah, well, sure. I don't know. They're all destructive in different ways, it seems. And then with my current job, which I have, I get to come to work every day and develop and design all kinds of new things that we bring for musicians to do, and it's amazing. So I've been very fortunate that I work really hard, but I don't think I've ever worked a day in my life. So
Great. Well, when you love what you do, they say that you never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. So a couple more comments here. So guess who guessed the correct answer for the skill testing question? Your lovely wife,
I was
Sandy.
going to say Sandy for sure.
You got the coffee.
Hi, Karen Barg. Good to see you, sweetheart. So Sandy says, where did she go? So the albums were Low, Lodger, and Heroes, which is my favorite album of all time. And she said she learned that when you were in Berlin. And so you have a very cool picture of you standing outside one of the recording studios where that was recorded.
Hansa Studio.
Yeah. Very,
Cool
very
play.
cool.
Yeah.
So Sandy is obviously not local, but the next local person to basically give the right answers is going to win 4 free tickets to the comedy club. Cole Curtis is saying, woohoo, yes, Syl, love you, Pops.
Love you
Cole-
too, Cole.
Cole Curtis.
And Kelly.
It's kind of funny because when I asked you, Syl, what you listen to, Sandy said me or Jeff Beck.
He does like that.
Well, yeah. So,
Good answer, Sandy.
well, you know, sometimes a question like that, my mind will go blank because there's just so many different artists that I listen to during, you know, and Jeff Beck. Well, I've got just about every one of his
I just thought we
albums.
assumed that we all listen to Jeff Beck, no?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, that's a given, yeah.
Who doesn't listen to Jeff?
No, it is a hard question to be asked on this spot. Mine would be mostly Bowie, truthfully, Bowie and the hip, because Bowie and Gord Downie are my, there's, in my house, there's prints of Bowie on the wall, there's Bowie mugs, I have a huge Bowie print above my bed, so I could say that, I never got to marry him, but I do go to sleep with David Bowie every night, so there's that, right?
I'll ask you, do you have a Night of Bowie coffee mug?
I do not.
Well,
Do they exist?
Yes.
Do they exist? Oh.
Yes. I'll get my wife to send you one.
I would be thrilled. I
And
would
a
be
t-shirt.
absolutely thrilled.
Wow.
And a
I would-
t-shirt.
Thank
little
you
bit of
so
swag.
much. I love swag, especially if a Night of Bowie swag would be great. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, speaking of a Night of Bowie, what's next? What do you see next for In a Perfect World for a Night of Bowie?
Well, I've got a few things in mind. I know that we've kind of kicked around the idea of doing an album, a full album, like whether it's the Let's Dance album or
Right.
maybe Hunky Dory or just a whole album section. And that's something that I think we should probably work on in the next within the next year.
You heard it here first.
Because you know it takes time. It takes a lot of time to get all this material down and get it down properly and stuff and to present it. If you're going to be doing an album, you want to make sure you can present it like that album, you know.
Right. I think that's a great idea. I think
Yeah. Well,
super.
we talked about that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That's much better than the idea I had. I was going to say we should do a week of Bowie.
A week, boy. I think an album is a hell of an idea because I would imagine one quick comment here before we go. I would imagine that because your show is big, like it's a big show when you're in the proper venue and you can bring in the big show around.
Yeah.
I would imagine when you do your shows, there's like several generations in the audience enjoying what you do, right?
Yes.
Right. That's amazing. And so parents will come with their kids and that's what I'm talking about, that music, you know, that music that has transcended generations. And I, on behalf of all the Bowie fans, cannot thank you enough for continuing this music so that we can still go out and appreciate it. And just keep doing what you're doing, because it's people like you that keep our favorite artists alive. And it's especially important to me, I think, when artists are no longer with us anymore.
Yeah.
True. Well, we enjoy what we do. That's for sure. You know, it's, you know, if we did enjoy it, we wouldn't be doing it. So
Right, and it shows. It really, really shows. Because I must have watched. My friends my company that was here for Easter, that was my old band partner and his wife that came in. They're diehard Bowie fans too, and we watched the live show at Blue Frog Studios. Yeah, great stuff. Really good stuff.
Frog,
Yeah,
That was a good night.
nice venue.
right. And so, if upcoming shows, I do have a website scrolling across the bottom, and it's www. Well, it's a nightofbowie.com, and it's everything Bowie, all about A Night of Bowie on that website. And is there any shows coming up that you wanted to? Or is it too soon to tell? Or
Well, we've got a couple things. We've got, well, not till September, we're going to be doing a show in New Westminster, opening for Loverboy there.
oh, nice.
And there's a festival over in Langford that's been kicked around, and I think we'll probably get the confirmation by the middle of the month. And then we've got a few other irons in the fire, and maybe do another trip down to Palm Springs. Yeah, so, but we'll update that site as soon as we get confirmations on everything.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's great to have a place where people can go and check it out. And I sure hope you make it to Alberta, like where I live.
Yeah,
That would be-
we have been out there.
I know you were at the Yates, and I think maybe I wasn't here then. I wasn't here yet. Yeah, no, I wouldn't have been here. I would, because I've only been here about just not even quite 5 years, because I would have been in the front row yelling my fool head off.
Actually, I played in Lethbridge with the first incarnation of the Bowie thing.
Was the Moonlight Tour? Was it called the
Yeah,
Serious Moonlight Tour?
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously, a Moonlight Tour.
Right. Seriously.
Yeah. Seriously?
Well, this has been a blast. I can't thank you all for coming on the show. I just want to thanks again, huge appreciation to Writers and Rockers Coffee Company and James Bariza of Good Times Comedy Club. I just wish you continued success, health, happiness, all things amazing. Thank you so much for your time, and hopefully we get to see you guys real soon. It's been a blast.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks,
you for putting
Kelly,
this
and the same to you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And we're going to finish off with a little David Bowie to take things out. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you.